Keith Llorens, CTO advisor over at Cisco App Dynamics. This is the first time we've been live together in the same room.
That's true.
I know.
Usually we're virtually
I know. We've done a
somewhere.
few of these things together, so I'm so excited you could be here today. Thanks so
Yeah.
much. We are at reInvent 2023. It's quite the show.
Yeah, excited to be here.
So, App Dynamics, you guys tout yourselves as being the full stack observability leaders. What is full stack observability?
Yeah, full stack observability, we believe is a change of traditional IT monitoring.
Okay.
At the end of the day, what customers are asking us for is being reactive is not strategic anymore. They want to
No.
be in a proactive state and they want to simplify how they get there.
Hmm.
And so when most people think of IT monitoring, you think of all the different verticals,
Right.
right? There's your network vertical, there's your server vertical, there's your database vertical,
Right.
there's your storage vertical. And then you want to monitor across all those things. And then let's not lose sight, there's the cloud, AWS reInvent, right?
Right.
There's security. And a lot of people, ooh, security, where does that fit in? Well, at the end of the day, what customers need, full stack observability, is how do I monitor across all those things,
Hmm.
baseline it, so that I could get out in front of alerts ahead of customers being impacted.
Right.
And then how do I keep customers out of the news from a security perspective that Log4j so uneloquently
Mm.
presented itself to the industry? And then when you think about cost and workload optimization, customers want to know as we come right out of Black Friday,
Hmm.
do I have enough capacity to sustain any type of load that I am or am not ready for? And can I automatically spin up microservices and containers to make sure that the end user has a quality experience? And then to be able to spin those things down, because the next big problem people are having is they want to manage their IT spend.
Yeah.
And so all those things encompass full stack observability, something we were talking about 2.5 years ago,
Hmm.
that even when we couldn't do it all,
Right.
but we knew that was what we had to do.
That was the
a-
North Star.
And we're here now and we're ready.
That's incredible. And I'm so glad you came up with a new phrase to define it because monitoring just doesn't cut it anymore. Monitoring is, when I think monitoring, I think, let me look at some server logs or database logs or whatever. But those just become different inputs so that again, it's not just a reactive experience, but a proactive. Because you present a slide that shows a lonely person on the slide with their mobile phone or their device, their interaction device, and that's how users often feel, is they don't know what is causing that experience to fail with their application of choice.
Yeah, that slide that you're referencing, it's interesting. What I found it as, at the end of the day, IT is monitoring because they provide a service,
Hmm.
and that service is to the business.
Yeah.
And that business has to deliver a quality solution or service offering to the customer.
Hmm.
And so whenever you're coming up with an IT monitoring strategy, I believe the end user has to be first and foremost. And that's what full
Yeah.
stack observability emphasizes, is that it is all about that end user. Because what is that end user doing at the end of the day?
Yeah.
They are accessing an application
Hmm.
and they just expect a flawless user experience.
Yeah.
And when they don't, they either call into your service desk, help desk, or nowadays
Or worst case,
they
they
go to the competitor,
they just leave.
right? They leave. And our goal is to make sure, how do we give our customers a strategic way and a confident way to know that they're monitoring for the end user, to
Mm.
protect their book of business, to make sure they're having strong customer satisfaction results,
Yeah.
and keeping their employees employed.
And with everything that's been happening in cloud transformation over the past decade, it goes far back as a decade, is one of the things I've seen it do is it's taking IT in the business and bringing them closer together. IT used to be able to sit in a building at the back of the campus and provide their service and go largely unnoticed, except every 3 or 4 years when they would do some sort of an upgrade. But now they're coming closer and closer together. The cloud-based technologies are more accessible to the end business. They're able to impact more. The the cloud acumen, the technology acumen of people coming into the business is much higher. They're able to speak tech a lot better. And I think that the way that full stack observability brings the business lens, the view to what used to just be, again, I'll go back to monitoring bits and bytes, a couple megabytes or gigabytes or terabytes of log files. We can now view that in the context of business impact.
Yeah, so that whole definition of full stack observability, right? When I talked about how we solve for everything and where that GPS to the lens of where root cause is on behalf of that end user, it's interesting within that same strategy, we have a data model,
Yeah.
and that data model is included with the monitoring piece, so
Mhm.
that now when customers are trying to say, hey, is this a P1, P2, P3, P4 type incident outage,
Yeah.
they can now see what real-time business impact is to make quicker decisions,
Mm.
to communicate more effectively,
Yeah.
to redirect traffic, right, to protect the brand of the organization. And all of that is part of the strategy. So check this out. I'm going to tell you where root cause is, and I'm going to tell you what impact is simultaneously.
Wow. And that's a
That's
service
what
that
it is.
IT hasn't been able to do
Right.
before. They could
That's
just
what it
tell
is.
you the database server's out and your app's going to be out for a little while. What that means, you're going to have to figure it out.
Correct.
Not anymore, though.
Nope.
This becomes a true tool of the business.
Yes, I believe that traditional IT is starting to go away. It's not advancing customers to be more competitive than their competitors.
Yeah.
And the one who can make themselves proactive, that could protect the brand of the organization, right? We're going to make sure that security piece is a major component that large customers of ours want to make sure they're not the next news story.
Hmm.
And our goal is to make sure they're not part of that news story,
Right.
to get ahead of vulnerability. So imagine I'm not only just being proactive with IT, I'm being proactive with security as well,
Hmm.
with an application lens that we can say, hey, there's something out in the industry that you need to be aware of, and we're going to rank and score it for you so we could prioritize that P2, P3,
Yeah.
right, for them, and then they can block that vulnerability and keep that end user whole, which makes customers a lot more confident with doing
Right.
business with folks who have those capabilities.
Well, you also have the capability, you talk about the proactive nature of the tooling as well, too. And if we take and combine that again with the business impact, you can now go back and say, look, we're staring Black Friday in the face or whatever the main holiday might be. I know a good friend of mine who's here has a flower business. And the big show for them is Mother's Day. They have to prepare for.
Yes.
But now you could know the business impact of not having enough infrastructure.
Yes, not have enough infrastructure, but how about this? Not have enough inventory.
Mm.
We can
You
get
can
out of
tie it that far back.
we could get out ahead of those things and let them know what their inventory looks like in real time.
Right.
They can see what that looks like. They also can see if people are abandoning their cart.
Mm.
Why are they doing that?
Right.
It's not just coincidence. Right? So whatever context we can give them
Yeah.
to help them manage their business, the better it is from a solutioning perspective. And those are all the things that make me excited about being a part about this full stack observability direction. I think we're changing the way people do business.
Yeah, and especially as you think about we've talked about capacity management through the lens of let's make sure that we can scale up, but now you might be aware to be able to scale some of that stuff back down
Yeah.
because costs really matter in the cloud because a lot of folks have figured out that while the cloud has so much capability, there's a very real cost associated.
Yeah, many CTOs tell me that as they move from data center to cloud, their new problem statement is the cloud bill.
Mm.
And how do they make sure when they're spinning these things up, can they spin them back down?
Right.
During non-business hours, they don't need all that stuff running if they're paying by the drink,
Right.
right? So they spin that stuff down, and then they make sure at the end of the day, you never know if customers are going to hit the system at 6 in the morning, 7 a.m. while they're on the train going to work,
Right.
right? A lot of our bank customers tell us that their busiest time of the day is 7, 8 a.m. on the train, as customers are coming in to and from work.
Right.
That's when they transact most of their business.
And interesting how these patterns have changed as technology and life has changed in this technology-based world.
And so imagine during that time, you could automatically spin up the capacity you need to handle whatever load by time of day, day of week, right? Whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
All of that now is proactive.
But Keith, in an environment where you're doing the full stack, that end-to-end thing, there's a lot of stuff in there that the organization, these enterprises can't control. I think about the internet. How do you guys handle for that?
Yeah, so there's a major acquisition we made in August of 2020 called Thousand Eyes,
Mm.
right? I believe it's the best internet monitoring solution there is in the industry.
Yeah.
There's really not a competitor.
And fully baked in.
and it's baked into the full stack observability solution. So our new senior leadership has been very clear. Acquisitions have to be simplified into one platform,
Mhm.
right? Into one GUI, one, some people say single pane of glass. Sometimes
Right.
that I like to say a single source of truth. I think
Mm.
that's
Better
that's
way to put it, because
yes,
sometimes it's a very small pane of glass that
yeah.
you're looking at on the
And
train.
then a lot of people say, I don't want to stare at a pane of glass to see what health looks like. I want to
Mm.
proactively get an alert. I want to proactively open up a ticket, route it to where it needs to go, and have people fix it all behind the scenes and letting
Right.
people know and allowing those folks to communicate to the business what impact is. And all these decisions happen simultaneously.
Well, and it goes away from, I'm glad you said single pane of glass, because where my brain wandered a little bit right there was to, the dashboards that IT used to look at, and it would look at faults, and it would look at errors, and it would, if it was a SQL thing, it might be looking at, different types of fetches and things that are happening there. But that's not really the end goal here. The goal is to take it up 5 or 6 clicks and look at shopping carts. It's to look at logins. It's to look at whatever that app's business behavior is, and grade that on a positive or a negative.
Y-
And if you need to get down to that level to get to root cause, well, you go there. But
Well,
that's not where you start.
oh yeah, so dashboards remain a real thing,
Yeah.
right? The key is they're not infrastructure, right? The
Yeah.
business can care less
Yeah.
about an infrastructure dashboard,
That's right.
right? They want to know, can I still deliver my service to the customer? And so now I believe the real dashboards are those that are correlating infrastructure health with business health
Mhm.
on a screen, that if business starts tapering off, can they see it's a infrastructure type thing,
Right.
or is it a bad marketing campaign? Right? They
Right.
can see both. And so now that dashboard allows them, instead of picking up and blaming the network,
Right.
which they love to do,
Sure.
right?
Could blame
Now,
anybody not in the room
yes,
because it's not them.
now within 5 minutes, you can quickly articulate it's not infrastructure, it's not the application.
Mhm.
Is it the internet? Is it an ISP provider? Is it a BGP protocol? All those things are going into making better decisions for the business
Right.
so that they can do what? Protect revenue, generate revenue, and improve customer satisfaction. That's what they're all trying to do.
Not a bad mission to be on.
No, it's not. And it's even cooler to be a part of that solution.
That's so true. So, one last point before I let you go, and that is, App Dynamics, of course, is what we're talking about. But you're part of Cisco. I mean, I think of Cisco as an iron routing company. I mean, I think about hardware, and it doesn't sound like Cisco is as much of just a hardware company anymore.
Oh, we are so much more than that,
Yeah,
right? Don't lose sight of we're very great at that as well.
sure.
The
That
difference,
heritage is alive and
yeah.
well.
Well, how cool is it that you sell hardware and we can monitor it as well,
And
right?
everything it
And
touches.
and that's where we're going. That's why the Cisco Observability Platform, you're going to hear many more things around. It's Cisco, right? It's a Cisco brand.
Yeah.
And we're leveraging acquisitions to complement our service offering back to our customers.
Right.
And so we have to be able to simplify those things for them. We have to build all integrated, inclusive solutions from acquisitions
Yeah.
that customers don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. All right, so we're here at reInvent 2023. If people want to learn more, well, they can go over to appdynamics.com or to booth number
680.
680.
We're
That's
all
right.
at 680.
All right, so folks, if you're watching this and you want to go chat with the folks at AppDynamics at Cisco, down at 680.
Thanks a lot for having me, Jeff.
Thanks
I
for being here.
appreciate it.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.